You know the fake checkup that people do right before they ask you for like a favor or that they need something. You get that message. Hey, how you doing? I have been cutting right through it over the last sort of year, and it's made my life so great. As soon as I get the oh hey man, it's been so long. I see so you're doing so much. I go straight to what do you want? What do you need? What do you need? What do you need? I can, and also I'm not stingy. I give it to them. I'm straight away. I'm going. What do you need? I can help you out. We don't need to do this dance because I'm not letting you get away with it. I'm not letting you get away with pretending to care. Yeah.
One of the great things we can do as men is just set the example that to be vulnerable is okay.
I'm starting to worry that this message isn't working anymore, or it's not reaching people in the right way. I think we start at a deficit whenever we're in this conversation about how to kind of save the soul of young boys and young men. And I'm kind of speaking predominantly to men here. This isn't the responsibility of women, although you're trying to help. The problem that we have is that these people online, whether it's hard right, manosphere, whatever terms you want to use, the endless sort of alpha male pipeline, they're all selling the same thing, which is a prize, right? And that prize is money and status and power and women. And the thing is that the prize-based model, it works. It works, especially on young boys, because it hooks into something real, fear and insecurity. This sort of feeling, this uncertain feeling about your place in the world, where you fit. And when someone comes along and says, well, if you act like this, you'll win, that's so seductive, it's so alluring. And I wonder if that's where we, the progressives, the left, the so-called woke, whatever words you want to use, we haven't quite landed, because it's not because we don't have an answer, it's because our answer is way more abstract, right? We don't want to sell a prize. I know I don't. It feels gross, it feels materialistic, it feels anti-feminist, and we also know it's not true. We don't want to say, be like this and you'll get the girl and get the car. Because one, it objectifies women, and two, we don't want to commodify success as something purely financial or aesthetic. So instead, we try to elevate the conversation. We try to convince them not to live for the prize, but live for the principle. Be kind, find your purpose. And that's good advice. Like, those are the things those boys should be doing. That's my advice to everyone, regardless of what you get in return. But the truth is that kindness isn't hard to platform. Spectacle is so easy. And boys who are hurting, who believe they're hurting, they don't want principle, they just want proof. Proof that being real and being good and being themselves and being vulnerable will still lead them somewhere worth going. And I think in our hesitation, our understandable hesitation to show them that proof, to point out examples of people who don't perform masculinity in the right way but still built meaningful lives, that might be part of the gap, and I get why it's so icky. Even now, I'm hesitating to talk about the men that I know who live quiet lives, who live weird lives, who live soft lives, who live vulnerable lives, and still like get all those things. Like I think about all the boys I saw who trained in ballet along with me, who weren't loud or dominant and vibed a lot more with the feminine and the masculine. And we built creative careers, and we traveled, and lots of us own houses and cars. And lo and behold, for some reason, women kind of like us, interesting ones, smart ones, beautiful ones. But I don't want to sell that. It's so like icky. I hate reducing people to prizes in someone else's story about male self-worth. But what do we do when these people have forced us into a position where that's the only language some of these boys are speaking in? Do we have to meet them there? And maybe not forever, but not as an endpoint, but as an entryway, as a way in. Not to bait them, but just to offer proof of some kind. You don't have to perform manhood to be respected. You don't have to harden yourself to be seen. You don't have to conquer the world to be loved. You can be quiet, you can be weird, you can be soft, you can be vulnerable, and you can still eventually receive all those prizes. But more importantly, you can live life like a prize. I don't know, maybe if we start by speaking their language, prize-focused, reward-driven, then eventually we can show them that in trying so hard to win at something, whether it's a girl or a car or a lifestyle, you're more often than not losing yourselves. Okay, everyone, I'm about to fly away, but I just wanted to quickly get on here and recommend Department Q. I had so much fun watching this show. It's funny, part of my review is to say that actually it's not really that spectacular. It just does everything really, really well. It does everything to a high standard. And that's kind of what you want sometimes in your TV. And also it's when a TV show just works and then it's also doing things well, it's addictive. I didn't fall in love with it in episode 1. It has 2 of the biggest twists of the show, probably in that episode, but the more I watched it, the more I just was oh, this is great. And now I could watch 4 or 5 seasons of this. maybe, you know. It gives me vibes like The Residents and Paradise and even Knives Out. Not that they're similarly made or like similar in themes or performances, but more that just the kind of format of them and the structure of them just works for me. That being said, like all of the elements of it are really, really good. Not spectacular, not world changing, but just strong. The performances are great. Matthew Good, the lead, holds the show together. He's charming, but he's also a bit of a dick. The dude who plays Akram, well, Akram in general as a character steals the whole show. Like, steals the whole show. The writing's fun and sometimes funny. The shots and the cinematography is okay too. Like, it's not jumping out at me, but basically, it's just great fun. And I think it's a perfect, like, Sunday show. It's on Netflix. Yeah, and that's it. I had fun, and I can't wait to see where it goes next. Yeah. Hope you enjoy it too. I'm trying to go to Japan, and if this app can get me to Japan, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. 1 second. It's time to go. Okay, stop. Obviously, I did not shoot drone footage. I've only just arrived. But I'm here. I'm in Japan. I just wanted to hop on and like, I want to say thank you. Like, I know people aren't coming on here thinking about me and the creative fund. They're just thinking about engaging with what I do. But it's gotten me here, and so I feel super grateful. I mostly put money away to kind of replace the match funding that I used to get on projects so I can try high-end dancers, but I've just squirreled little pieces of way, and very quickly I was like, oh, I can afford the flights, and I did. I've paid for my flights through being on the creative fund, and I just feel like this is such a cool achievement that I want to acknowledge. And the rest I'm gonna, hotels and just doing stuff I'm gonna pay for with my regular work job. Although, do you know what? Maybe just to be kind to myself, whatever I make on this video in particular, that'll go towards my trip out here. I also felt like it'd be really important in this moment. I am gonna go and enjoy my time. Don't worry. I'm here for a little minute. I want to name my next goals, because I feel like I want to be able to name them and do this again in the future and hold myself to them. So look, I want to hit 100,000 followers. I think that would be really cool. That would be an exciting little thing. I want to get invited to a premiere to review a movie. People try and email me screeners, but no, I want to be sat in a theater. I would love to go to Cannes Film Festival. That is probably a long way off, years, but that would be incredible to be able to go and talk about film. Oh my God. And then last but not least, all of these monologues, all of these takes, I always write them down. That's why they feel so well prepared, right? Like, people are always impressed by how well I'm speaking. I'm like, yeah, because I work on them. I write them down. I jot notes. I add little things. I want to start aiming towards a book of essays, or maybe something else. I'm not sure yet, but I need to start writing it before I know what it is. But yeah, I hope this app can lead me towards writing a book. That's it. Thanks again. This is amazing. I'm going to go enjoy myself, and I'll see you on the next one. It struck me that there's got to be a lot of people who scroll through this app, and when they see my face, they scroll away straight away, and they probably really don't like me. I'm sorry to say, I'm never leaving. I'm never leaving, and it's the app's fault. It's the app's fault. Like, edits were not a part of my life before 2025, before I joined this. Like, I didn't really see them. I just didn't really see them. There's an edit of Star Wars, I don't even like Star Wars, to LL Cool J's Mama Said Knock You Out. It's one of the greatest videos I've ever seen. There are people on this app who record, like, over the top of songs, like, usually R&B songs, or, well, any songs, with, like, smooth saxophone or, like, electronic guitar. And they're the coolest people you've ever seen in my life. I'm never leaving because of them. Also, I would never be disrespectful, but, like, there's this dude called Moses, and he just goes to parties and posts the most beautiful women, like, slow motion smiling to camera at a party. And I don't go out anymore, so I don't get that, like, across the room connection. And I'm living for it here. I'm living for it a little bit. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not a lecherous person, but I'm still but a boy. I matched somebody on Hinge. And then she just goes, listen, I see your content, and as much as I'd like to date you, I think we'd make better podcast hosts. Okay, so we did go on the date, and she made me cry by talking about Superman. I think I'm only telling the story because I'm super jet lagged right now, and I just have nothing else to do. It's like 4 a.m. here in Tokyo. So we go on the date. I've told her I don't really want to do a podcast. The date is great. The date is a lot of fun, and we've like this is weeks ago now. We've talked about this already, but we had a sleepover, okay, and I'm at hers, and she goes, I think that we should do the podcast. I'm like, no, especially not now. Now that we've had this little sleepover, like, there's no way. And she goes, no, I don't want to do it. I want you to go get the mics and for us to sit in my room and record this so that you have this conversation. And I'm like, oh my god. But she's adamant. She's like, you don't ever have to share it. And I want to be very clear. I'm never going to share this conversation. So I go back to mine. I get the mics. I come back to hers. Now it's like 5 a.m, 4 or 5 a.m. I don't know. And we sit and have one of the greatest conversations I've ever had. And the thing is, I weirdly had thought once upon a time, like years ago, that it would be cool to do a podcast, kind of like pillow talk vibes, where lots of couples or lots of people who have never, have only just hooked up for the first time have to like have a conversation. So that was quite cool to like actualize that. But I very much was like, no one's ever gonna see this. No one's ever gonna see this. Is not gonna make it out into the world. I don't want this. It was too raw. It was too deep. And she's asking me questions about why, like, I'm not dating, like, I hadn't been dating that year. And I talk a lot about this guilt I have that's connected to love. Like, I've been talking about it a lot in therapy, that something about love and relationships and children, that, like, thread, particularly with things that are going on around the world right now, but which I'm not going to name because I don't know how this app, it seems really inconsistent with, like, tearing down people's viewership. So you know what I'm talking about when I say the sort of, like, existential threats that are affecting certain people around the world. All of it is filling me with guilt about the nature of love. And I know my guilt doesn't help anyone. I know my guilt is not necessary. I know it's not needed, but I feel it. And it's why I don't talk about that much, because I don't really want to put it out into the world. Anyway, so we have that conversation, and that's like hanging here in the ether. And then we move on, and we're talking about her interests, and she's really beautiful, and I don't know why I mentioned that. She just is really beautiful. She starts riffing about the new Superman movie and the Superman trailer, and I don't really care that much for Superman, and she just starts talking about the lore and how much she's like really loving it. And she keeps playing this moment over and over again from the trailer where Lois is interviewing him about whether or not he should have gone into this war-torn country, and he keeps like repeating this line about how
people were going to die.
Anyway, she's like playing this moment and she's talking about it and she's so passionate. And then she just looks at me and goes, are you crying? And I'm like, no, I'm not crying. And I wipe away and I go, oh my God, I am. I'm crying. And I'm like, obviously so embarrassed. It's a first date. Anyway, we dig at that a little bit. And I say, I think it's just like we've just had this conversation about these really big, heavy things going on around the world and this guilt I have with love. And I realized that, like, for people who've seen that scene, you can kind of look at it two ways. You can look at it as Superman, who's looking at the human race and saying, why don't you understand me? Why don't you realize that I am here to do good? I'm here to be good for you all, and I have the power to do good. But I look at it through the other lens, which is through Lois's lens, as a journalist, as a human being, that we are powerless, right? Like, I don't want to have to admit that to myself, but there's a limit to what I can do without it being too radical. And I wonder, like, sometimes do we put all of these things in the way? Do we put good journalism in the way? Do we put voting and democracy and good leadership and diplomacy and not essays, think pieces and monologues on TikTok and charities and fundraising and protests and thoughts and prayers? Like, do we put all of this in the way so that we can, like, hide from the possibility that we might be totally powerless to stop, like, the death of men, women, and children? And it's something about that, like, watching him say that line, that roar from Superman of a being of pure power, looking and begging powerless people to trust that a man with power can do good. But we can't. Like, we can't. We've never seen it before. And I think it just broke me in the moment. Yeah. I honestly don't think there's a more, like, unhinged moment than that captures sort of peak anti-woke, madness, than when Piers Morgan pretended to throw up a vegan sausage roll on Good Morning Britain.
Ooh, God.
I like them. They've got nice crisp
Oh.
pastry.
Yeah.
The vegetarian sausage is nicely flavoured. That's a good look, Piers.
Oh, my God.
For anyone who lives outside of Britain, right, this may be one of the wildest like culture war tantrums I've ever seen, and somehow we just sort of kind of forgot about it or like laughed it off at the time. So for context to people, Greggs is basically a kind of British institution. It's a church for some people. You go into Greggs, you get a pasty, you get some sort of pastry, you leave. By the time you finish it, there's another Greggs right across the street. They're everywhere, particularly up north. I love them. And sausage rolls are like a big deal in the store, right? And so as veganism and vegetarianism was on the rise, they decide, like a lot of other institutions, to add veggie or vegan products, like only a couple, and one of them was the vegan sausage roll. This like lit a fire under all of like the right-wing anti-woke establishment. There were screams of, you know, why are we having these things thrust on us? Why are we having it shoved down our throats? I want to be really clear about this because it may be unclear by how I'm describing it. They were adding it. They weren't replacing the meat products. They were just adding new ones. Anyway, this all reached a head when Piers Morgan decided to, for some reason, try it on national TV, and he decided to eat them and then like pretend to throw them up, and then he whips out a meat one, and like it's like divine intervention, and he gorges himself on it like it's saving him. It was such a weird moment that to this day I'm like, what was that? Do you know, guys? I think we had it wrong. You know, I think we should take life too seriously. All those years of people saying, oh, don't take life too seriously, don't take things too seriously. No, do, because we have overdosed on that advice. That doesn't mean don't have fun. That doesn't mean don't find joy. Take your fun seriously. Take your joy seriously. Take your sadness seriously, your depression, your melancholy. Take it all. Take it all seriously. Take yourself seriously. Take meandering seriously. Take dawdling along the street slowly. Whether it's your weird little hobbies or your friendships or your love or family, whatever, like live life with intention, like truly live it with intention, especially if you're one of the lucky ones who doesn't really have to worry about constantly, you know, befalling harm or illness from the world. Like, you owe it to the rest of the people who don't have that freedom to take life seriously. I know this sounds super, like, intense, you know, I know that, and I say this as a moody, misanthropic old git who sometimes can't be bothered with any of it, but, like, going back to the it's not that deep crowd, or the, oh, don't even worry about it crowd, don't think about it crowd, like, no, I just want to grab those people and say, hey, your life is serious, take it seriously. All of it is serious. Movies are serious, songs are serious, dancing in the street is serious. It's so serious. Like, that doesn't mean solemn, and it doesn't mean serious in tone. It just means serious with your attention. Really silly thing. I walked around a temple today in Japan. It was a beautiful experience. I took my shoes off, and I noticed that the floor was sprung differently, and I can't tell you what it felt like to just focus on that throughout this like 20-minute adventure through this temple. Anyway, this might be hyper pretentious and hyper serious, but like, I would rather live in a world where people took things way too serious than this current one where loads of people aren't taking it seriously enough.
Oh my god, they match my freak. My love, can they match your yearn?
Sometimes I think the For You page is a bit disrespectful, you know? Like it could mind its own business. Okay, let's talk about Japan. Okay, I'm on like day 3 now, or day 4, I can't remember. But I think whenever we think about travel, and we think about the way that travel often like reshapes us, more often than not, there's like big stuff that we think about when we're planning a trip. The monuments you want to see, the Grand Canyon, Disneyland, the adventure, the cherry blossoms. And then I think there's like stuff that's slightly more mid-range. Maybe you think about it first, maybe you think about it after this. You know, the food will be different, the currency will be different, transport, the language, vegetation, wildlife, different animals. You know, all of that stuff means a lot when you're traveling. But I've been taking notice and taking stock of like much quieter and smaller moments, and Japan's a great country to do that in. These are the things that like could be missable if you're not really paying attention. Like, for instance, here in Japan, most doors open like normal, a push-pull situation, but a surprising number slide open. That like tiny detail disrupts your muscle memory a little bit. Like, something as automatic as walking through the door requires just a quick relearning and a quick sort of like brain synapse changing. Or like traffic lights, they sound so different, they're a lot softer than the ones back home. In stores, service workers, as they're passing you, they'll like bow so they don't block your view, and that relationship to service changes things. And actually, even more than that, like there's so much labor in every transaction that you make. Everywhere I went, there were people who would gesture you into places, like entire jobs. People just waiting at bus stops who are there to gesture you onto a bus. Even when we went to exhibitions, there would be a sign saying "Go this way" and a person there saying "Go this way," gesturing. And like even cafes, for example, where I think in England there may be like 3 staff, there was like 6 or 7, and so staff members move more slowly because they're just not as rushed. They're just not as like rushed off their feet, which is really interesting, and it makes things feel slow. It makes me feel slower. I think the silly mistake you can make when you're traveling is to like rank these things based on home or based on other places. This is better, this is worse. It's all just different, but it's within those like quiet differences that those imperceptible changes like happen to you. You know, changes that often don't need language. Like I think it would be a mistake to try and explain what these things are. You know, some things just don't need to be said. Wittgenstein, the philosopher, has a great line, whereof one cannot speak, thereof one must be silent. Travel kind of does that to you. It reshapes you wordlessly, and not necessarily through what you already understand, like the big stuff, but through what you notice and what you don't notice. So I was just like thinking about that today and thinking, that'd be quite a curious little question to ask audiences. You know, what are those moments for you? Not the Grand Canyon, not this food in this restaurant, not this exhibition, not this cool garden, not this monument, just these like tiny quiet things that if you talked about them when you got home, they'd be a bit boring and a bit like inconsequential to people who haven't experienced it. This should be like a safe space to talk about those little things that stuck with you. But if you've got any, please drop them in the comments. So I'm totally uninterested in this, but I am absolutely gassed about this. Let's start with the good, shall we? Okay, look, this may ruffle a few feathers, but I think that Denis Villeneuve is everything that Christopher Nolan fans think that Christopher Nolan is. This is not a dig, this is not a slight at Nolan. I love Nolan. When he's at his best, Oppenheimer, it's one of the greatest movies, I think. It's definitely the greatest movie of that year. One of my personal favourites, which is The Prestige. He's one of the greats, for sure. But for me, his relationship to emotion, to concepts like love, and time and memory, all of them, sometimes he can miss the mark, and other times he can feel slightly too wafty and a little too, like, melodramatic. Denis, on the other hand, feels way more grounded. He's just as precise with time and space and sound and scale, but his films are more emotionally textured. They're more restrained, more haunting. Just compare the, like, love transcends the dimensions of times and space from Interstellar or whatever to the final act of Arrival. Leagues apart. Same kind of ambition with emotion, but completely different resonance. To me, he's Nolan's equal in every technical sense. I don't think that's controversial to say. But part of his power is that his films never need to shout about it. And so honestly now, with this Bond news, I don't care who they cast. Make it a woman, make it a person of colour. I barely cared before. But now I'm like, make it someone we've never heard of. If Denis is in the chair, I trust the direction. This guy is a student of story. He understands tone. This could be something special. I'm a little shocked he's gone from franchise to franchise, from Doom to James Bond, but I'm happy, I'm here for it. Now let's talk about the bad. I have no idea what more there is to say about Mark Zuckerberg. Like, the original Social Network was not thrilling only because of Mark Zuckerberg, but because of what he was building. You know, the film captured the birth of the New World Order, but this, what 2 more hours of, like, corporate acquisitions and lawsuits? We're in a strange cultural moment where villains keep getting mistaken for protagonists. Like, The Wolf of Wall Street was the clearest example that things had shifted. DiCaprio literally played a monster, and half the internet wanted to be him, despite the fact he punches his wife in the gut by the end of the movie. And now what, we're going to do this with Zuckerberg as well? Like, I don't want to, like, mythologize a man whose company has arguably hollowed out the internet, and in some ways the species in general. I'm not interested in Zuckerberg, the man, and honestly, I don't think you should be either.
So I'm being held hostage. You have to kill that person, okay? Johnny! Johnny, that's me!
Okay, as a single person, I need someone, preferably a man, to explain this culture of, like, hating your partner. I don't get it. I know that video is just a joke. I'm not talking about them. But, like, it's just everywhere. And the reason this is hitting, because something weird happened today in Kyoto when we were walking around these gardens and these shrines. So we were heading up to a shrine that was, I think it was dedicated, or it was about blessing safe, healthy, and painless pregnancies. And so my friend Emily, like, I'm like, do you want to go up there? She's like, yeah, of course. I want a painless pregnancy. And as we're walking in that direction, there's another couple near us, and we start to go the wrong way. And I'm like, no, it's this way. And I jokingly go, don't you want that painless pregnancy? Ha 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 ha. And then they laugh. And then the husband or the boyfriend, I don't know, but they look like they've been together a while. He jokes and he says something like, oh yeah, I told her that she's going to have to, she has to earn it just to go through the pain. And, like, Then we all laugh because that's just what you do, and then eventually me and Emily are like on our own again, and we both look at each other like, "What? I don't get it. What's the fun? What's the funny there? What's the joke there?" But again, like I know that they're just joking. I know that they're just messing about. I know that they're not like they really don't hate each other, but it's because it's everywhere. It gets confusing. There's memes. There's like when people go to catch the bouquet at a wedding, and jokingly the husband will like try and bat it out of the way, or it'll cut to them and their partner's caught it and they're all smiley and their husband's like all glum, or like the ball and chain jokes, or the eye rolls, or the fake threats, or like the general just sort of wife culture. I just want someone to explain it to me. Like, what's this performance of despising your partner supposed to achieve? Like, don't you people love each other? Maybe I'm being super soft here, but like, okay, yeah, maybe I am being super soft. And as a person not looking for love, if I ever have it, if I ever get it again, if I ever allow myself to like sort of fall into it, then I'm not going to spend my time pretending that I hate them. Hey gang, am I being paranoid? But like, whenever I see someone essentially do the same take I did, like less than a week later, I'm like, huh? Did they just jack my take? And it's always like, I'm into double digits of this now. I mean, and so I'm still new to the game. So is this just something that happens a lot? Like, should I just get used to it? Because is this biting? Are people just biting my takes? And it's always people with way more followers who are like, should we say aesthetically a little more pleasing, just like slightly more symmetrical, and I don't know. Am I being paranoid? Is this just pure ego? Should I be flattered, or should I just be like, oh damn, I got there first? I'm not sure. I just saw one. I literally just saw one. And the worst bit is, this person likes my posts all the time. I see you. Yeah, I don't know. Weird one. I need to get over myself. I don't know, boys. Is it a preference or is it just bias? You know, like if we stopped saying I have a preference for and we started saying I have a bias against, maybe we realise how icky that just is. You know, the whole thing is a bit icky. Do you know what, right? I recorded that this morning and I was just going to post it when I got back to my hotel as a little funny one. But actually, I'm not letting you guys off because I never let myself off. I grew up I went to a school that was like mostly South Asian, mostly white. And I was attracted to South Asian girls and white girls. And then I moved further out. And I only saw white people. Like, I went to an all-white school, it was an all-white area. And so, yeah, that was who I was mostly attracted to. And then I left. And, like, I just didn't let myself off. I just never said the phrase, oh, I have a preference for. I just kept saying, oh, I'm biased against. Like, in my head, not out loud. You just keep saying it. And then, like, as TV changes and it evolves and we start to get more, you know, diverse sort of characters and people on screen on mainstream TV. You don't have to go off the beaten path to like find things. As magazine covers change, and as your world diversifies and changes, as long as you're honest about the fact that it's a bias against and not a preference for, like it'll just change. And now I can't imagine any other life, gang.
You know, there's like the 7 wonders of the world.
Yeah.
If we had the 7 wonders of the UK, I think the Angel of the North would be one.
So no, these guys are wrong. They're debating on what they think the 7 wonders of the UK are, and they're saying things like Hadrian's Wall and the Angel in the North, and that's not it. They've got it completely backwards. These are the 7 wonders of the UK, and you're allowed to argue in the comments if you think differently, but I think I've nailed it, okay? The first is that service station on the way to Gloucestershire, I think it is. It's got like the farm shop and the indoor plants. It's so posh and it's so nice that it has its own website. A service station in the UK is somewhere you like have to stop off to because you're tired or you need food. This is a destination. Like, that's how good it is. So that's a wonder of the UK. The second wonder of the UK is that magic roundabout in Swindon. If you haven't been to it, don't. It's a nightmare. Just Google a picture of it. It's a roundabout of roundabouts. My friend took us. We drove, I think, like 70, 80 minutes. And honestly, it was like a level from Mario Kart. I didn't know. I just don't remember thinking. I remember thinking, like, how are we going to get off this? We're stuck. This is where we live now. So the third wonder of the UK is Oblivion at Alton Towers. But very specifically, it's Oblivion at the end of your time at Alton Towers. People make the mistake of thinking that you should, like, go because it's the first ride you see. No. You wait till the end when there's no one else there. If you're finishing the park, everyone's like trailing out slowly. If you get a mad dash on, you're full of sugar, full of adrenaline, you can ride that bad boy 5, 6, 7 times. You just get to go up, down, up, down, up, down. It's amazing. It's such an experience. And you leave the park on like such a high, but also like exhausted, and you just sleep the whole journey back. It's perfect. The fourth wonder of the UK is Mr. Brightside by the Killers. I'm not explaining that. You should all understand it. I think that the fifth wonder of the UK is back in Gloucestershire. It's the Cheese Wheel Festival. You know, it's that incline, that hill is so crazy, and they're going after it. They're getting concussed. They're losing teeth. They're getting black eyes. It's just perfect. It just feels so British to me. So yeah, that's going in the list. I think the sixth wonder of the UK is the first time you go into a corner shop and the guy calls you boss. As soon as that happens, I think your life has changed. The older the guy is behind the till, the better. You know, you walk out of there with like a Lucozade and a new purpose. Like, it's not a small thing. People think it's a small thing. It's not. It's a knighthood. That's a real knighthood. And then the final wonder of the UK, number 7, the seventh wonder, is platform 60 at Leeds train station. Like, this one's specific to me, but I'm putting it in there. Firstly, it's so far away. But then if you're there on a Saturday and you're trying to get the train to Manchester, it is rammed. We are all in competition. People are trying to game inches on you. They're trying to get ahead of you because we all know that we may not fit on this train. And in fact, most of us won't. And the worst bit is that you're stood there for that half an hour, like reevaluating your strategy for how to get on the train. It's a nightmare. It's a proper like trial of Leeds. So yeah, that's the list. It's not Stonehenge, but that's not a wonder of the UK. It's just a pile of rocks. These are the real wonders. But yeah, if you want to argue with me in the comments, I'm happy to hear it.